3 a.m. Again, why did I ever think this was a good idea?
Now, one of those weekend events is a little bit different than the others. And I've asked our friend Rob to come here and talk about his weekend. Rob, hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Bob, fantastic to talk to you again. And
Always.
John, always good to hear and see you. So
I
thanks for having me on.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you spending the time with us. We're going to talk about your weekend, of course. Now, the spotlight's been gone for a little bit. We get real busy around dopey time, so we're back. I have to remind myself how we do this. Let's start with that standard race report spotlight question. Rob, how'd you get started running?
Well, John will appreciate this. The short answer is the force. And what I mean by that was when my wife and I moved down from Kentucky to Florida in 2011. My wife was a runner, and I was not whatsoever. Had no desire to, but I sure liked going and watching my wife's runs. And when she
Cool.
started doing this thing called Run Disney in 2012, I started following along, and I'd come and I was in the cheer section when you had to pay for it, and it was
No,
called
I
the cheer
remember.
section,
Yes, sir.
and would chase her around the course for every race that she did, try to see her as many times as possible, and swore to myself never going to do it. My stepkids ran some races, my triplets ran races down here. I was not going to do it. I was happy just being the guy in the stands. And then they announced that they were going to bring over the Star Wars themed races from Disneyland to Disney World. And I was born in 1969, so I was an 8-year-old child when Star Wars hit the theaters.
Oh, my goodness.
And so you can imagine that I've been a Star Wars fan for my entire life. And when they said we're going to do Star Wars races in April of 2016 at Disney World, that's when I decided I've got to get off the couch and start running. So
Rob?
January 1st, 2016 was my first training day.
All right. That's a good one, Rob. The stories tend to break into my significant other was a runner, or I was trying to date this person who was a runner, or I was a high school. Anyway, you're the first film-based runner. So I like that. That's a good story. And I'm going to toss in here. I'm not, no spoilers here. How about cycling? When did you get started with that?
I started cycling about the same time because I wanted to do something CrossFit, kind of cross-training wise. And that just seemed like a natural thing to do. So I used my stepson's dirt bike at the time, which was a challenge because I'm 6'4" and my stepson is 5'9".
Right.
But I made it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And started
Knees
riding my
up to
bike.
your chin and all that. Yeah.
So that was same time, 2016. I started riding my bike around on the nights I was not running. So,
well, I'm gonna hold a question here for a little bit because I'm assuming you're not riding that dirt bike anymore. So let's talk about the weekend. It wasn't a duathlon because you're separated by a day, but you did a 5K on Saturday and then a 100K on Sunday. Tell us about it. Tell us where it was, how it went.
Yeah. So this is an event they hold every year called the Tour de Cape. And it's in Cape Coral, Florida, and it's put on by the Cape Coral Parks and Recreation. And on Saturday, it's just a 5K fun run, basically the same kind of fun runs that you have every weekend all over the country. There were probably about 150, 200 runners or so.
Okay.
And then it was just a straight out and back course from a park over in the Cape that I've run at before a few times, and so just did that, and then.
But you did this coming off at least the marathon.
Yeah, coming off, I did Goofy plus the 10K the
Okay.
weekend before. So, and of course, as happens about 50% of the time after I run a marathon, I caught a cold slash
Yeah.
the post marathon crud. So
Hmm.
the entire week leading up to the Cape Coral event, I was dealing with a cold and the runny nose and everything. So I kind of
Hmm.
jokingly called it the sneezy challenge.
Yeah. I like that. Very clever. Well, hey, what the heck? 10K half and full, and you leave out the 5K?
Yeah, so I had done Dopey 7 years in a row, and so this would have been eight.
Okay. Okay.
But my
Okay.
wife, we're going to St. John next month for a race, ironically, and we're going to
Nice.
spend a week there. And my wife said, "Look, we really can't afford to do 4 nights at Disney followed
Yeah.
by a week in St. John."
Yeah.
So I initially just signed up for the Goofy.
Hmm.
And then a few weeks ago, I ended up getting a 10K charity bid because one of the charities I've run for before called me up and said, "Hey, we've got a bid left over. We'll sell it to you for cost. Do you want it?" Twist my arm,
I got you. All right. I
Okay.
understand. I understand more now. Did you have something, John?
No, I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, I'm putting the math together. I go, okay, 10K. Okay, just leave out the easy one.
I wish I'd have been there because I would have loved to have been a puppy
Yeah.
and barked the entire 5K
Yeah.
chasing,
Yeah.
running away from Bob, I guess it is.
Yeah. That was the
Yeah.
plan. Yeah. Yeah. It worked out well. We talked about it earlier in the episode.
Yep.
Um, so the 5K was fun. Now you're seeing one of the magic of my graphics here. See, I can do fireworks.
Woo!
Um, the 5K was fun. You get a good night's rest. I assume the weather was decent this last
Well,
weekend, wasn't it?
it was good, it was good weather. I mean, it's Florida race season, so you've got the
Right.
nice cool temperatures in the morning,
Right.
and you're just hoping that there's no fog and no rain. And we were fortunate both days
Mm.
that it was just cool. And
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, got it. So then you had the bicycle 100K the next day. Now, again, I'm going to pick back up. I'm guessing you're not riding that little dirt bike anymore.
no, my wife for one of my birthdays back in 2017 or 2018, somewhere in there, she saw me out riding in the neighborhood one day on the dirt bike, and she just thought it was the funniest thing.
I'll
Like you
bet.
say, my
I'll
knees
bet.
hitting
Yeah.
my knee, and she got me an actual decent road bike. The bike shop not terribly far from our house actually had a sale on this bike because it was 4 inches taller than the normal bike, and so you have to be essentially our
Right.
height, 6 foot
Right.
4 or taller,
Right.
for this thing to work. So she got
Yeah.
it at a 50% off discount.
Oh, nice. What kind of bike?
So it's a BMC
Okay.
something or other, white
Okay.
with a bunch of gears that I rarely use.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I do ride. I haven't ridden in a while. I got a Cannondale, and my wife bought it for me too, but we worked through the shop. Nice bike. The bike is better than the rider.
Yes, absolutely. I've had people compliment me on the bike and ask if I rode seriously, and I'm like, as serious as it takes me to get out of my garage and through a
Yeah.
couple of neighborhoods and back home and into the recliner, then yes, I ride seriously.
So how'd the ride go? The
It
100K.
was really good. This is the first time I just started riding in races this year. I
Mhm.
did a 40K,
Mhm.
uh,
That's
the
an odd distance.
the end or excuse me, a 40 miler
Oh,
at
okay.
the end of December down in Naples, Florida.
Okay.
And so this one popped up, and I was like, let's push myself. I kind of want to get to a point where I can do as half an Ironman, the 70.3. So let's see, can I do a 62-mile bike ride, 100K?
Mm-hmm.
And I signed up for it and couldn't have asked for better weather.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cape Coral police were out. They had most of the major intersections not completely blocked off, but when they saw a group of cyclists coming through, they got out there and held traffic up for us. So there was never had any fear, or it wasn't like a road race where they block off traffic completely, but
Gotcha. Right. Yeah.
felt safe completely.
Oh, yeah. That makes the difference.
And the biggest challenge with it, other than it was 50% longer than my previously longest bike ride
Mhm.
was the wind.
Yes.
Which I knew wind could be an issue because just riding around for fun, sometimes you
Yes.
get out there and the wind is blowing against you and you feel that. Well, this morning the wind was at our backs for most of the first part of the ride, which was going north through Cape Coral,
Mm-hmm.
which meant that coming back home for the
Mhm.
last 25 to 30 miles, that wind was in our face.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and I went from the first 25 miles of the race, I probably averaged about 19 to 20 miles per hour. I finished the race at a 14.6 mile per
Okay.
hour pace.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I get it.
So that tells you
Yeah.
how slow and how much of a clog and just
Yeah.
it was
And
hard. And being as big as I am and my
yes.
back isn't quite as flexible, I couldn't get low
Yes.
to get aerodynamic. And then after a while, when you have to get up out of the saddle because your glutes start hurting
Uh-huh.
and you got to stretch those out, it was like I was putting a sail up.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
just
Honest,
being
I get it.
no, but I got to the finish line and I
Mhm.
felt good. Nothing was sore other than my cheeks from the wind blowing on them. And they had lunch, they had beer. It was all free.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I always say any race where I leave the start line and get back to the finish line in one piece is a success.
Victory.
So it was absolutely a success.
Do you find there are people in line behind you, Rob, using you to draft?
A couple of times. In fact,
Yeah.
as I sat down to eat lunch, a lady came up and sat down next to me, and she thanked me for
Yeah.
being her
Yeah.
blocker for a little while. That was probably a mile and a half.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that. That's one of the things. Owning my second ride with a big group,
Mhm.
I'm not used to looking in the rearview mirror and seeing a
Mhm.
bunch of people behind me
Mhm.
there. So yeah, I was trying to make sure I didn't do anything dumb and swerve or cause an
Oh,
accident.
that's
It was
it.
just
Right. Just do what they
going to
expect.
be like
Yeah.
an Indy
Yeah.
500 pile up where 7 or 8
Yeah.
people run into me behind because I was dumb in the front. So,
Yeah. I
but
one time
it was great.
towards the one time towards the end of 100K, I got into a pace line, and boy, what a difference! I mean, 2 or 3 miles an hour, easy. And
Yep.
we got all finished, and I thanked the group for letting me ride. And it was a young lady riding behind me, and she says, "Well, she was pretty young, and I'm not." She goes, "Sir, I'll ride with you anytime. It's like riding behind a truck."
Yeah.
That's great. So,
Thanks.
recommended, Rob, the Tour de Cape.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, Tour de Cape. I've done the 5K a few times in the past, and now that I'm kind of doing the cycling thing, I'll absolutely put it on the calendar. And as a matter of fact, next year, I'm going to have the goal of making it my first 100-mile ride, as they have
Okay.
that level as the
Yeah.
next one up. So
Yeah.
if I can go from my first 100K ride there to a 100-mile ride within a year, I think that would be a nice accomplishment to celebrate this turn around the sun.
I think you can do it. It's a challenge, but I think you can do it. That's great. John, anything?
Not much. Nothing really. Just
Okay.
asked it all.
I'm gonna let you go. We'll sign off here. Well,
All
Rob,
right.
thanks for joining us, buddy. I appreciate it. It sounds like fun. We need to
Absolutely.
I need to get back on my bike. How close are you to Fort DeSoto? You know where that is?
Yeah, I know where Fort DeSoto is. It's
Yeah.
an hour and a half north of me.
Oh, okay.
I,
I'm much
I,
closer.
no, but my stepson or my son is up there at USF in college,
Okay.
and we just got his bike fixed. So maybe that's why maybe I'll start working with him on doing some rides and stuff around. And
Yeah, they do cycling
I'm actually
events
going to bring
there.
I'm actually going to bring my bike up. I'm coming to Clearwater this weekend, coming up for the 5K and the half marathon
Oh,
up there this weekend, and I was going to ride the bike around Clearwater on Saturday after the
okay.
5K. So
It's the Pinellas Trail, and we're going to cut this part out, okay? Well, we after the thank you,
yeah, that's fine.
we'll cut the rest of this out. I'll leave it on the video though. Um, yeah, the Pinellas Trail runs through there, Rob. Runs through. Well, it's terrible
Yeah.
in Clearwater proper, but north and south of the city, you've got this beautiful trail that runs from the ballpark in St. Petersburg all the way up to and actually past Tarpon Springs. It's like 32 miles. It's a great trail for riding on. Highly
Wow.
recommend it. And I forgot
sounds-
about it.
Yeah. So
I may try to get over there just to. I'll see who's running. I'm not running it, but I may try to get over there just to say hi to folks.
if you're interested, they sent an email. It's through Millennial Running Company, and they sent an email today saying they still had spots open. So if you're interested
Okay.
in doing a 5K or whatever, yeah, it's there.
I got a half coming up, so I don't know. All right, I'll look at it. I'll look at it.
No, I mean, if I happen to see you up there, believe me, I'll stop and say hello and high five you. No sweaty hug or anything like that because I sweat profusely.
We'll grab a beer. I'll wait till afterwards and we'll grab a beer.
Yeah.
All right. Rob, thanks. I'll let you go.
No, gentlemen, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Love the work that you guys do. I know I tell you that in person every time I
it's
see you,
fun,
but
man. It's
you know,
fun.
and
Great.
anytime. I'm sorry it took me so long to become a Patreon, but I got around in December to
Thank you.
all the different podcasts and stuff that I listen to that give me joy and entertainment. I figure
I just
let's
thought
pay
of
back.
one question. I
All
gotta
right.
ask. I gotta ask you. So,
I'll make it.
how was it running down the path from the Magic Kingdom parking lot to Animal Kingdom, seeing all the Star Wars characters?
That Star Wars Magic Mile was awesome. I wish I would have realized they were going to do that sooner because it took me about to the third character, and then I realized, holy, this is all Star Wars stuff,
Mhm.
and it was just, it's phenomenal. And that idea, obviously I'm partial to Star Wars, but they could do something like that. They could do a Pixar mile. They could do, 1990s Disney animated movies mile, a 70s Disney animated movie. I mean, that was just brilliant. And
I just wish I was able to see it more in the dark with all the. So we saw the lights in the side ground, and that was so.
Yeah,
hopefully, we'll be back soon with Star Wars.
that would be fantastic. Like going, like as soon as you leave Epcot for 2 miles or so, there you're kind of on the road. Make something there with lights and lasers, and bring an AT-AT or something over. Who knows?
Yep.
Have BB-8 rolling around on the course. You got
to dodge them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Guys, thanks again.
Thanks a
Appreciate
lot.
it. I look
Thanks,
forward-
Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
I'll let you go. See you
You
soon.
guys take care.
Bye.